Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of If Margaritas Could Talk, the Over 40 Chronicles podcast, where midlife gets messy, magical, and occasionally a little bit tipsy. I'm your host, Tracee Black, writer, soul searcher, and self-proclaimed queen of the international meltdown. And yes, I'm sipping on a jalapeno margarita right now just because I like my truths a little bit spicy. Today's topic, you might want to buckle up. It's time we stop fearing the midlife crisis and perhaps start having one on purpose. I want to talk about redefining the crisis. What is the word crisis? When we hear it, we think convertible cars, affairs with yoga instructors, regrettable tattoos in foreign languages, and men. But is it possible for women to have one too? But what if, and hear me out, what if a midlife crisis was actually a call to alignment? Not a breakdown, but more like a breakthrough. Here's the truth that no one tells you. Hitting your 40s or 50s is like waking up in a house you built 20 years ago and suddenly realizing the future doesn't fit. The walls need repainting, and maybe, just maybe, this isn't the right house anymore. That's not crazy. It's clarity. And it's worth toasting too. I had my midlife crisis at 43 to 45, I guess. Maybe it's still even happening. I don't know. It wasn't loud, but there were no bald eagles or motorcycles involved. But it was intentional. And let me scratch that. There was a motorcycle involved. I did get my motorcycle license. And I thought, how can I be so bad adventurous at this age and just do all the things I want to do because we don't know how much time is left. I sat myself down and asked 3 very dangerous questions. Number 1, what am I pretending not to know? Just let that sink in for a second. When we pretend or don't acknowledge, even though we know maybe it's there, the question still comes out, what am I pretending not to know? The second question I asked myself was, what do I actually want now? Like, what do I want now? What do I want in my life? What do I want the next 20, 30 years to look like? It's all part of the questioning. It's all part of the understanding. It's all part of the intention. The third question I asked myself was, who would I be if I weren't afraid? So as we're getting older, things are changing. Careers are changing. All the life numbers are ahead of you because you look at this birthday coming up and you're like, oh, I'm in my 40s already and here we are. So did margaritas help during that time? I don't know. And listen, because if you don't have your crisis on purpose, life will hand you one accidentally. So I think things like a health scare, a marriage imploding, or a job loss. And suddenly you're spiraling with no map and, of course, no margarita. Midlife isn't the time to shrink down. It's the time to recalibrate. So do you think men have thought that all along when women say, oh, must be going through a midlife crisis just because he bought a sports car? Chances are yes. But what's our midlife crisis as women? What does that look like? Make your crisis a choice, not your consequence. So here's where I get real spicy. We've all been told that growing older is about settling down and about finding peace. But what if it's actually shaking your damn life up like a cocktail shaker? Think about that for 2 seconds. What is life like if we shake it up? The kids are grown, empty nest. What are we going to do with our time? How are we going to live our best selves? Buy that crazy pair of jeans that you've been wanting to buy. Get on the scooter or not because you might break an elbow. You have so many choices. Book that flight. Get out there. Take the yoga class. Go to the hiking. Do the spinning. Whatever it is you need to do to help you identify, and mixing things up is never a bad idea. When I talk about mixing things up, I would love to hear from our listeners. What midlife crisis moment happened And how did it impact your life? Like, you don't need to burn it all down, but maybe it's time to, do some changes, do some things. Leave that job that you outgrew in 2012. Write that novel that you kept saying you'll start someday. Move to a city that terrifies you and excites you. Dye your hair turquoise or wine colored and start salsa dancing like I did. Go to therapy. Finally unpack the family baggage that you've been carrying since 1989. Midlife gives you something that your 20s didn't. Man, it gives you wisdom with edge. So let's use it. On our listener panel, here's what a few women had to say, which I was ecstatic about. First up, Maria. She was the empty nester who forgot who she was. She said, when her last kid moved out, she stared at the quiet house and realized she had no idea what she liked to eat anymore. Why? Because for 20 years, she cooked for everyone else. She started going to a local paint and sip night just to have something to do. A year later, she's selling her art on Etsy, learning French, and planning her first solo trip to Paris. Because apparently, midlife has a little boho artist in her after all. So, I'm so happy, Maria, that you found your path. I hope Paris works out. It's so great when all of a sudden you're reinventing yourself. We got another listener that came out that said her name is Simone. She was that successful woman who secretly was dying inside. She had it all, right? Except for peace. She started crying in her car before work. Then came the panic attacks. Then came therapy. Now she's a brand strategist for nonprofits, working from her garden, and swears she's never going back to heels or quarterly reviews. We've all been there, and some of us are still there. So take the leap of faith. I'm so glad you made that decision, Simone. Sometimes it just takes that moment to sit in your car and cry it out. That's the truth. If any of you can relate, this is a big one. Tanya wrote in saying she was the wife who realized she wasn't in love anymore. She looked across the dinner table at her husband one more night and thought, I don't even know who this man is anymore. It wasn't hate, it was distance. Years of polite parenting had turned their marriage into a business merger. With honesty, therapy, and a lot of tears, they separated kindly. And now Tanya is dating again, paddleboarding and discovering she still loves first kisses. Listen, for a lot of us women who are out there that are hanging tight because of hope, maybe hope isn't the answer. Maybe the midlife, go ahead and do it crisis is really what's required to make a change. You can love someone. Doesn't mean you're meant to be with that person for the rest of your life if, again, it's just become a business merger. So Tanya, congratulations on loving those first kisses again. That's so fantastic. Next up is Aisha, the soul-starved teacher who went full woohoo. And I don't really know what woohoo is, but it sounds like it could be possibly something we all know. Aisha was the woman everyone leaned on, but no one noticed she was spiritually starving. She started meditating and journaling. Then she found herself in Sedona with a group of women chanting under the moon, and she wept. Today, she hosts monthly soul circles and says midlife was her invitation to wake up. Sometimes, just like all of us, Aisha, she took the leap of faith and realized, hey, chanting under the moon and crying can be a thing, and it's a form of, self-healing, self-reflection, and a part of midlife. And when the invitation comes to you, sometimes you just got to listen. Now, again, we're coming up with another one who, Jess, she brave enough to come out there and talk about her body. She was the woman who wanted her body back. I mean, don't we all? 48, she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize her body. Menopause, fatigue, libido shifts. It was like puberty in reverse. We've all been there. But instead of shrinking in shame, she got strong. Weightlifting, hormone coaching, and some good old body neutral Instagram scrolling. Now she says, I didn't lose my body. I just met me again. And that is maybe the recipe we all need. We just need to stop scrolling through all the things that don't apply to us and start focusing on the things that do. So congratulations, Jess. I'm so happy that you found yourself again. We all can use that. We can all use that advice. Everything I love about being intentional with choosing yourself is a whole big part of it. And sometimes that midlife so-called quote unquote crisis is necessary, but we don't really identify or know what it really truly looks like. So take a step back and ask yourself maybe some questions. What I did was put together what's called a midlife margarita recipe. And it's our signature segment. This is the metaphor that we want today for our midlife margarita. So we're going to build our margarita together, and it's a little piece of each one of these things. You want to take first, you need 2 ounces of courage, because change, of course, is really, really scary, especially when you're uncertain what's on the other side of it. Next, you're going to put in 1 ounce of grief. Yep, I said it. You are allowed to mourn who you used to be. It is the truth. We're not 20. Our bodies aren't perfect. Things have changed. Our mind has changed. How we process things has changed. Just allow yourself to mourn. Next up, we're going to say 1 ounce of wild joy, because reinvention is kind of delicious. So take a splash of irreverence and flip the script. Break the rules. Salt the rim with boundaries, because honey, you're going to need them. Shake it up with therapy. Pour it over your new experiences and garnish it with a support system that gets it. Now slip so slowly. You're not just rushing this rebirth. Rebirth takes time. It takes softness. It takes kindness. It takes just having the whereabouts to just be able to identify what it is and do it. So I hope that you can take this midlife margarita recipe and use it as your metaphor when you're trying to build and trying to figure out that scary moment of the question that we all wonder in our mid 40s and 50s is, what is this? We're trying to identify who we are. And like I said to a couple of friends a few times, I said, I feel like I'm in limbo. I don't know what this is. Like I'm sort of, up in space doing the, hey, I'm up in space for 11 minutes and I don't know what to do when I get back down because the ground. Time is not borrowed, and we are just doing life that nobody really talks about. I mean, did our parents sit down and go, hey, this is what happened when you hit your mid 40s and 50s, that you start questioning everything in your darn life? But maybe they don't, because they want all of their children to make sure that they look like they're okay. Whereas secretly, I think they were not. So all to the moms out there who were before us, or grandmothers that were before us, is this what you went through as well? I'd love to know. So if no one's told you lately, let me be the first. You're not broken. You're becoming. Your midlife crisis might not look like anything Hollywood promised, but it just might be the most powerful, freeing, U-shaped experience of your life. I want to just ask you a question. When you're talking about checking in with yourself, what does that look like? I put together a midlife crisis self-check quiz. So if any of these questions relate to you and you answer them with truth and honesty, you will perhaps maybe see or get some of the answers maybe you're looking for. Now, of course, I'm no therapist. This is just me. This is just a little game I like to call, is it burnout, or are you actually in the midlife crisis? So answer yes or no to the following. Number 1, do you sometimes fantasize about quitting your job and moving to a cabin or Italy? I do it every day. I'm like, it would be so nice to just not have to mow the lawn again. It would be so nice just to step outside and sit and look and observe and sip a glass of wine, or, just spend time with people and have that quietness and dull all the noise. The second question is, do you feel strangely emotional about your past? Like teenage is trying to talk with you again, over and over again. You're reminiscing about things when you were in your teenage years. Perhaps you're talking about it with your friends. Or, it's just sitting in the back of your mind and you're reminiscing on some of the great, good old times that you had as a kid. And, where's that time gone? The third question is, are you craving something new, but not sure what? Again, it's sort of like that. I'm up in limbo, don't know what I'm doing. I mean, even just right down to deciding what you want to eat for dinner sometimes can be the hardest thing to do on the daily. It's so true. I think to myself, who knew that it was going to be so difficult to choose what you wanted to eat every single day? But if you're craving something new in your life, no matter what that is, it's kind of this mixed sort of weird feeling, like not sure if you want Chinese food or you want Italian. But the fact is, if something new in your life is what you're craving and you don't know what it is, you have to look deeper. The fourth question is, do your old routines feel like someone else's life? I think about that so often every single day. You go, whose life is this? Who has to do all this stuff every single day? Who's got to do the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, all the things? Get in the car, drive, go to work. It's all kind of the same routine, but the old routines feel like maybe it's not you anymore and you've outgrown it. So you have to ask yourself that question. Now, here's a big one for a lot of us. Are you dressing yourself differently? Cutting your hair or buying crystals? I mean, no shame, right? I've got 3 of them right now. Change. When we see a man go through a midlife crisis and they start working out real hard and dressing a little different, why is it okay for men to do it? And do we as women, do we do it? Yes, we do. It's a known fact. And that's okay. It's okay to find yourself. It's okay to get up into something new and saying, I'm going to wear dresses more often. I'm going to wear nicer shoes more often. I'm going to wear ball caps more often. I mean, whatever your fancy is, just go with it. If you want to buy crystals, buy them. Buy a whole store of crystals. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you are feeling that way and you're feeling like you need a change in that area in your life and fashion and so on, ask yourself why. Now, the next question is, do you feel deeply unsatisfied, even if things look fine, quote unquote, from the outside? Unsatisfaction is so many things. It's like that moment when you walk up to the refrigerator and you're just like, are you bored? Are you hungry? What is it? It's kind of that metaphorical sort of same situation. You're feeling unsatisfied. If you've eaten a meal and you're like, it's not even satisfactory. I don't even feel good about it. It didn't satisfy my hunger, or this is kind of what falls along the same thing. If you're feeling that deepness of unsatisfaction inside, but everything, you try to paint this picture on the exterior that everything is fine, maybe it's really not. And ask yourself, why? Now, another question. Have you Googled how to change your life after 40 more than once? And I've done this so many times. Thank you, ChatGPT. The answers aren't really out there, but there's a lot of people and bloggers and influencers who have a different opinion about that. How to change your life after 40 is in the eye of the beholder, I think. So if you're taking that step to say, I do kind of want to change something, but I don't exactly know what it is, but you keep going back there, maybe just take this little quiz test. And if you answer yes to many of the questions, that might be your answer. Now, this one. Do you feel invisible, underestimated, or like you're on autopilot? When we hit a certain age in our life and we've accomplished so many things, especially if you're an empty nester and your kids are off to college or they've moved out and they're adults starting their own lives or have their own families, sometimes it can feel really hard when you all of a sudden feel invisible, or like you're sort of just going with the flow every single day with no rhyme or reason because it's just how you are, without realizing the trueness of, hey, what is this really? Ask yourself these questions. Ask them every single day. Get up, make a journal, ask the questions in therapy. What is this stuff? Guess what, honey? It's a midlife crisis, or a mid-breakthrough, or better yet, a mid-reinvention. So if you have answered yes to 4 or more, like, welcome to the club of all of us, because this is what's happening. As women, we are sitting back going, why is this happening? And I think I've had many, many conversations with friends and family to say, I don't know what this is. Do you feel this way? And oftentimes, more than not, the answer is yes. Yes, I do. But nobody really talks about it. You just are asking the questions. Hey, what is this situation? Why do I feel like this? Sometimes, again, just like our listeners who decided they were going to, give us their outline of their situation, sometimes it just is sitting back and listening to a podcast like this and saying, that's what it is. I can't believe I just needed to hear somebody else say it in this form. If you're nodding your head, laughing or crying just a little, I want to hear from you. Slide into my DMs or leave us a message, or even contact us on our Gmail. Leave me a voice note. What is your midlife crisis story? And remember, you're not crazy. You're just waking up. This week, I challenge you. Start your midlife crisis on purpose. So do it. Do everything with purpose, with heart, and if possible, with a little bit of tequila. Don't forget to tune in next week as Charity and I dive into the topic of aging, celebrity changes, and keeping up with the age of over 40. I know you have it in you. So keep going, keep listening. Until next time, keep laughing, keep living, and remember, if life gives you limes, what do? You make a margarita. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe on your favorite listening platform. And of course, on ifmargaritascould.com. #podcastdiva. Cheers, everybody. That's it. I'm out. Have a good day.